It's now time to bring you our feature on the show today as we focus on the currency market. Now, the highlight of the week that was the report of the free fall of the Naira against global currencies such as the US dollar and pound sterling. Now, the Naira depreciated to as low as 545 Naira per dollar over the weekend, but there are projections of further depreciation to about 550 and then even as much as 600 Naira in the medium term against the dollar. Despite sustained growth in Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves, the Naira has been on the downswing. The official investors and exporters window, the Naira depreciated by 0.1% to hit 412 Naira per dollar. Now, at the parallel market as well, the Naira dropped by 2.83% to hit 545 Naira per dollar. The Naira, however, closed flat at 380 Naira, 69 kobo per dollar. The Interbank Foreign Exchange market early on Friday, supported by Central Bank of Nigeria's weekly injections of $210 million. Now, some market analysts attribute the depreciation to sustained demand pressure as a huge unmet demand and wide gap between the rates speculative trades exacerbating the tough exchange situation. Well, joining me now live in our Lagos studio to discuss this and much more, I have economist Adiola Ojo in the studio. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning.
Good morning, sir.
Now, we are seeing a free fall of the Naira, and then there are forecasts that we would expect to see it drop further as much as 600 Naira in the short term, despite the interventions of the CBN initiatives to ensure that we see the Naira stabilize. We're not necessarily having the same response in terms of the performance, and the CBN has always been cautious about this term Naira devaluation. What do you think are the feeling sentiments that is making the Naira drop as sharp as this point in time, despite all of the initiatives to ensure that we have stability in the forex market?
You. I think one of it we've mentioned in your introduction is the demand pressure on the Naira. We have, as of today, a lot of pressure on the Naira. Requests from every source, and actually this is a summer period, and also it's a period also when schools are resuming abroad. Apart from that, we tend to make purchases and sales across board, and with the new policy of CBN that every
forex suspension,
yes, and so there is a lot of demand from the people. And we could actually see that the challenges of accessing forex at the banks have been a bit much of recent. So all the pressures now have gone to the parallel markets, and as a result of that, as a result of shortage of dollar and the demand also, and when there's much demand and there's less supply, there's going to be increase in price. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have this problem at the moment.
And not to have a repetition of what happened in 2016 as well, do you think the Apex Bank ought to also increase forex allocation to the banks to cater for all genuine demands?
Yeah, increment of money to allocation. They have been given $210 million
exactly.
every month over time. But that time it was given to bureau de change. Because the bureau de change were accessible. You can actually go there, make your request, and
now that same volume has been transferred to the banks.
Given to banks. But banks are, in one way or the other, trying to cut, rationalize, ration it, give you only $4,000 when you need $7,000. And at the end, by the time they are able to give me only $4,000, I still have to go elsewhere to meet up. And I think those are the challenges that we actually have here. The banks are not maximizing, or they are not helping us to mitigate the challenge. They are not meeting the needs of the people. They only say, okay, $4,000 maximum dollar for your PTA, $5,000 for your BTA. If that is all, then whatever you want to do, except you fill your Form A or Form M. And at the end, if those things are not met, you go to alternative market. And I think as of now, most people are going to alternative market to access their the dollar. And I think that's why we are having the pressure upon the dollar.
So would you call this a policy somersault?
Yes, a challenge of a policy management and follow-up. We have not been able. We actually said this about a month or two ago when this policy was put on the table. We said it's going to cause this, and already we've seen the things happening. And it actually happened in 2016. This same government, this same administration in CBN were the one in power then, and they understood what went wrong. I do not actually expect them to still be towing the same line as of today. They should have learned from history and take caution.
And then taking cues from what happened in 2016 now, there are also analysts forecast that we are going to see an increased shift in terms of dollar-denominated investments as investors are looking for havens. Now the Naira, so to speak, is losing or has lost its value. So the economy will continue to become a dollarized economy at the end of the day.
Already it has become. Because as it is, most people are changing their Naira to dollar to keep in the bank.
Just to keep that value.
Just to be able to keep the value. Because, for example, if you have your money, maybe you have 1,000 Naira or $1,000 or 1,000 Naira in your account a month ago. And now, as a result of the devaluation of Naira, the value has gone below 1,000 Naira. So gradually in your high, you are losing value, you are losing money. So eventually what people tend to do is to keep money in the bank. In dollar, they keep it in their domiciliary account. That is one. Another one is for some of them to ship this money abroad. Some will change the money and keep it at home. Those are the speculative things that actually come. You keep so that when the thing now gets to 1,000 naira to $1, you can go back and make a good gain. And some people also, in the context of time, they are doing round tripping with the money. So there are lots of things happening with this money, and eventually, and do you know one thing, sir? Let me just let you know this. The Nigerian stock market has been so good from last year to this year, and by the time we're doing a little analysis of what has happened, we actually found that across the world, that when you compare other stock markets across the world, you find out that the Nigerian stock market is one of the best performing stock markets. That means in one way or the other, that apart from Bitcoin, you can actually invest in the Nigerian stock market and make much gain. But do you know one thing? The people that ought to come in to invest their money on the Nigerian stock market could not do that. Why? Because of the way and manner we are managing our foreign exchange. Because if they should say, okay, I bring in my money and I want to repatriate or get my money back, there may be challenges.
Let's now talk about silencing some noise as well. We saw reports where there were speculations that the CBN was looking at turning domiciliary accounts into Naira, and then that was debunked by the CBN. What do you think could have fueled that noise?
They cannot try it. The moment they try that, they're going to cause chaos in this country. They're going to cause war. They're going to cause, because if I should keep my money in $1 and you want to turn it to Naira, for me, I'm going to cause some little wahala. And I think basically they won't do that. And thank God that they have debunked that. So let us allow it to stay where it is.
And in the move to also caution sharp practices, that's why we also saw the suspension of forex to broad exchange operators. Now, do you see that same playing out, irrespective of the banks being cautious and ensuring that enough of volume is spread across the demand that we have on ground? Do you still, because that initial warmth of this move is not sustained, so to speak?
Yeah, let me just tell you this. Actually, by the time we try to look at what happened the last time, when we say, okay, the banks should handle it, we actually thought and we believe that the banks could actually handle. But because of the challenges that we've seen, because historically, economists actually look at things. Historically, you look at it, you look at the behavior of your people, a whole lot of things. So, but basically, let me just talk on two things here. The historical part is this thing has been behaving in this manner. When you give this thing to these people, the bank, they do not get to perform optimally because of the way and manner, which is the second one, of the behavior of your people.
But the CBN has also said it's also wielding the big stick and its oversight function.
That's the reason. What has happened over time? When people will say they want to travel, they pick $4,000 from PTA. They will not go. They will cancel their flights, and at the end they will go to the parallel market to go and change the money. They are making money. They are rent-seeking even from this particular thing. So that's the behavior of your people. So no matter what you do, you actually have to take into consideration this behavior of your people, the historical antecedent, and your own policy. Those are the things you actually take into consideration to make decisions. So look at your people. If I do it this way, what is the behavior of my people? This is then what do I need to do to mitigate it? Those are the things we actually.
If you were to advise the CBN governor, what would be the right turn at this point?
Basically, one of the things you actually do is for you to liberalize. Give the banks the right to handle. Then also, like I said, do not say you're only favoring a part and taking away the other. The Bureau de Change are doing a lot for the people. They meet a lot of demand. So in one way or the other, from my own point of view, you should still consider them. And if there's any infraction amongst any of them, you take care of such a person. Either you withdraw their license or you fine them. You have done that before. You can continue to do. Rather than say, I am banning you, you are not going to have access to it. Banks, you are alone, will have access. And at the end, the banks are not performing optimally. Then things, they are going to have issue. Like the scripture says, it said when the center, it said, I just want to put it this way. It said when the center cannot hold, something like that. Everything go haywire, something of that nature.
Well, we'll continue to keep our fingers crossed and see to what extent the Central Bank of Nigeria is able to tilt the swing of the pendulum to ensure that we have stability in the foreign exchange market, see the Naira bounce back. It would be a shame to see the Naira continue to fall so sharply and getting as high as 600 Naira, but we'll just keep our fingers crossed
We pray
and
it
wait.
will happen.
Thank you very much for your time on the breakfast show this morning, Adiola Ojo. It's been a pleasure
so much.
speaking with you.
I appreciate it. Good morning.